newspapers,
Right.
barbershops.
It's Wilmington, right?
Yeah, and so um, when you said that surrounding the access is not there anymore, I just immediately think about how gentrification and certain things strip the communities,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, from that type of growth and development within the black economy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so um, it gets frustrating. You know what I'm saying? And then just looking at Trigger Warning and seeing how he pointed out like this is like a reality and something needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? Which is the whole New Africa thing towards the end.
Yeah.
Right.
But even with all of that, all of what he was trying to do, I think it's good to maybe get people's minds thinking like, okay, maybe we can do some stuff. But also, to me, show that it's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because, for one, it's hard to get people on one accord.
Yeah, and that's my question right there. Like, I think that's kind of the general desire of black leaders, particularly maybe black nationalists, or but anyway, once everyone gets on one accord, then things will work out. That's kind of like the assumption, and I don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't
believe that.
And just like and like say you see that in the first episode where, all right, I'm gonna live black, and so you realizing like, dang, it's a good idea, it's a good thought, but maybe I ain't gonna say impossible, but how can it be possible now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially with the integration of, the communities. And so, where the integration was, I totally agree that it was more detrimental for our community, than anything, because now you don't have what we had in Wilmington. You don't have,
right.
The Black Wall Street and Harlem the way it was, because it's like we saw what white people had as what we needed to have, and once we was like, oh, we got access to it. Okay, I don't need what we had. You know what I mean?
Say that again though.
Meaning like it's kind of like once we know or we had opportunity to have what white people had, so to speak, we didn't want our own anymore, right? So it's kind of like
okay, yeah.
It's kind of like what we talking about. You get some money. First thing we buy a foreign car, and then we go and get all these Tom Ford. Who is Tom Ford? Who is he? Michael Kors. Who is he?
Right.
Gucci. We go get all these labels, right, of stuff. I mean, sure, it's good to have nice things, right? But like I said, we're going to immediately to take our money to these people we have no idea about. They don't know nothing about us and our community, not doing anything for our community. And so that's how it was, which I guess contributed to our community being gentrified, right? Because on top of that, we didn't see the value in what we had, because you might have had people that own stores and own houses in our community, and then they pass it down to their kids,
right?
And their kids like, I don't want this. What I'm gonna do with it,
right?
You know what I mean? And so they not only leave the neighborhood, they're not even taking care of what was passed down to them. Because think about it, those houses in your neighborhood where people own and they passing down to their kids, they sell them, and then people come and buy them up. And then next thing you know, they done changed the whole neighborhood around. So now the neighborhood where you had a mom's and pop store, now that's like Starbucks.
Yeah.
I mean, Whole Foods coming in, different things like that. And it's now where you see people, waiting out on the bus, or, people, from the neighborhood out. You're not seeing that no more. And so you're kind of moving, us out, and they moving in. And so you see those type of things happening because we're not seeing the value in what we have, what our people had, or what grandparents had. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that. So two things. One is why don't we value ownership?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one part of it. Then two, when he was talking about integration, I think also in a free society, people are going to choose who they want to be with.
Yeah.
And in the black community, I don't think that there is a black community, from my perspective. I think that there are black communities.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So
Gotcha.
I think that because the black communities they center around ideology first,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe race second. It's not race first, ideology second. So for example, you take the LGBT black community, and then you take maybe the Hopetep black nationalist community. They don't get along with each other.
Mm.
Those differences are deep.
Mm-hmm.
And so
they're both black.
Yeah, and so to think that they're just going to sit those differences to the side
Mm-hmm.
and come together in the name of black whatever, it's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's not happening at all, right? And then you take also the Christian black community, and then you have maybe the black nationalist community. They may have points of agreement. They may agree maybe on economics,
Mm-hmm.
but the spiritual system is at odds with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a small disagreement. You know what I'm saying? That's a big disagreement.
Mm.
And so what I see happening is very similar to hip hop, right? So like here's an analogy, is that in hip hop you have different styles of music. And these styles of music have different communities. So you have trap, you have boom bap, you have West Coast, right? And then they just kind of operate in their spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just, contributing to society. I think that's what you're going to see happen in a multicultural society where people are free,
Mm-hmm.
is that you're going to see,
People supporting what they value.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, how you say it? What they value, not based on color.
Color, yeah. So what do you unite around? What is family?
Mm-hmm.
Is family values, or is family race or skin color?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So,
Or is it hip hop?
right.
I think most people can kind of, I didn't say unite, but
Right.
That's definitely one of those things in common. And I think,
I see that's a loose connection, though.
Really?
Yeah.
And why you say that?
Because of what I was saying the other day, or a few 15 minutes ago, about how hip hop has elements to it that's poison.
Right? Okay. Well, when I say that, I don't mean necessarily the music, more so
the culture.
Yeah, or the generation. It's kind of like, all right, so you might see a person that you think that you would not talk to.
I got you.
Right?
Yeah.
But then you hear
them playing a certain song.
Playing something like, oh.
Yeah, the connection.
And so that automatically, opens up the door, you know what I mean? And, one of the things I think too is, right, and so there are things that separate us as people, humans.
Right.
But I think there's also a bunch of common ground that we can build on,
right,
and even communicate with, so we're able to understand each other. So,
right,
one, there is music.
Yeah.
Two, there is food.
Yeah.
And then so, and also family, right? Because everyone has family for the most part. Even if they don't have their family, family died, they have experience or some type of way, and so you're still able to connect and communicate and even understand people from all those different things. All that brings us together.
I'm jumping ahead, but
No, you good.
like towards the end where he brought people from different backgrounds to do that song.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they were all saying the most
craziest stuff.
And they were still able to move forward with that song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
You know, I see that as symbolic, man.
Mm.
I don't see that as real unity, though. That's just from my perspective,
Okay.
right?
Go ahead,
So,
break that down.
so what I'm saying is that it seems like people are more concerned about symbolic unity and not necessarily like real unity.
Okay.
And so, like, okay,
The difference between break down the difference
yeah,
between symbolic
so kind of like a photo op. You know, we're taking a picture together. Yeah, we're together. You know what I'm saying? But then are we talking to each other during the week? You know, do you got my back if something happened? You know, what if something happens in my community? Will you stand up for me, or vice versa? Doubt it. I don't know. I don't know. So I think it's kind of I don't know. I tend to. I'm not saying that there is something to be said about, you know, symbolism, but I just wonder how far that actually, you know, translates to real community and actually being there for each other or helping
Yeah, but
each
that's
other
what
out. So
I would say. That's for anything, right?
that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like there is no.
Well, real quick, I'm saying that normally when true community happens like that is when the people have the same values.
Okay.
That's why I keep going back to values. When you think about the people that you're willing to give some money to, for the most part, you know, I got you. You give them, you know, $100, $200, $300. You know, most of the time you're not doing that to just a stranger on the street.
No.
You know, or you know what?
But there are some people who would rather do that than someone they know.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Hold on, say that again one more time.
If they would rather do that with someone they don't know versus someone who they do know.
Right.
And I'm just
now,
saying
is the person they know, do they have the same values or?
I don't know. It could just be a connection on.
I got you.
Like, man, you really need. All right, here you go. Versus someone they really know, and then they be like, "Why are you paying my money back?" You know what I'm saying? Like,
definitely.
I think there's like, you know, like what do you call it? Where it's like this symbolism of unity everywhere. Because let's say not a symbol of unity, but I say genuineness. Because see, this goes back to my thing of being genuine. This is just kind of like how I see things. So
yeah.
And so, you know, where is the genuine person? Are you a genuine person? Because see, we can have people can have different views and maybe even values.
Yeah.
But if you had if you value being pure or genuine at heart, then they have my back.
Yeah.
I might disagree. You know, there's someone who might have a totally different worldview than me.
I see what you're saying.
But we connect on that value of being genuine. And so, you know, and I think sometimes that happens when it might have came from that symbol of unity, right? So they got together, they did a song, and what happened is it opened up conversations between them, and there was some type of connection. So now, when another person says, "Oh, why you say that?" you're like, "Oh, you stepping up now because there was some type of connection there."
Yeah.
And so, I think that just kind of, I don't know.
I can see your point.
Yeah. So, you know, basically, we get that from anywhere. We get that from our jobs. We dealing with people at our jobs. We deal with that with our family, where everyone's not really genuine. You know, you have some people say, "Yeah, blood is thicker than water," but then you know what I mean?
Right.
It changes, you know, sometimes because family be the first one going to stab you in your back.
Right.
And so
what if, like, you know, you're operating in that genuine, you know, value or whatever, and then someone, you know, like let's say a certain social issue pops up. You know what I'm saying?
Like what? Like, give me an example.
maybe like same-sex marriage or immigration.
Or building a wall on the Mexican border.
Something like that pops up, and then you having the worldview, the belief system you have, you're being humble and bold at the same time, communicating what you believe, and next thing you know, that person is like, wow, that whole genuine face you have.
It can go right out the door.
Right.
Yeah, because there's there are levels.
Now he's communicating my point a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
from another angle.
But see, there's levels to it, right?
Right.
Because it's like this. It all goes down to like who's really who. Like we go out right now.
Right.
Somebody try to fight Mark.
Right.
I'm fighting.
Right.
Right? But you know who's gonna go further? His wife.
I see.
She loved him different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so there is a point of a cutoff. Sorry, Mark. But you know what I'm saying? There is a point where I can't go to this. This is a little too far. You know what I'm saying? And we don't know what that is or what that even look like. You know what I'm saying? So I can't tell you, oh, Mark, it's to this level with me. I can't tell you. But I will say that that's where it is with everyone. You know what I'm saying? At some point, I might do something and then y'all like, I ain't messing with P no more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, you would hope that the person would, yo, man, you wilding out right now.
Yeah, that would be the hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can't always expect that, though.
Right.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, when referring back to like the show, it's like you have these people, you coming together on some type of common playing field, right? But then there's gonna be points, because that go back to what I was saying. It's almost impossible to have everyone on one accord. And so he built New Africa up. He had all these people that he connected with, and y'all come stay here. But then immediately he had issues with Mario, the guy that was, wanted to make the song. He didn't want to pledge on the book. He like, I don't want to pledge on the book because, whatever. I'm like, bro, the book is empty. Sleep ain't said a word. Sleep is just sitting there, just like looking.
Right.
Half sleep, you know what I mean? So, why are you even tripping about that? But, there is going to be some type of disconnect between the people. And that's why a lot of times things can't be as powerful. You know what I'm saying? That's with anything.
Right.
All across the board.
All right, so I think there's a certain. So I agree when you was talking about there are levels to this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you think about, for example, well, one example. So like Jesus, for example, right? He had the 70, then he had the 12, then he had the 3, and then he had 1 John. You know what I'm saying? So like, obviously, there are a few relationships I think that every person should have that are like key. And I'm saying that not everyone can get in that door. And I feel like sometimes people kind of operate from this place where I want to be cool with everybody on that same level, like John was with Jesus. And I'm saying that that's impossible just because of time, life, and I don't even think it's like humanly possible for that to happen. Outside of maybe 1, your spouse, and then 2, a few friends that you may have, and but only when the relationship is that close is when you can actually build something. That's what I'm saying. It can't be like very casual. I can help you here, but like long-term commitment, day by day. Listen, man, I have a vision for this. This is what I want to happen. This is what I want to see happen in the world. You need absolute devotion to that. Absolute devotion without wavering.